Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading the Bible Like a Reader. And this go around, we are getting into the story of Joseph. You know, Joseph and the coat of many colors. I honestly don't know this story based on that coat. I know it based on him just going to jail. But we're going to look at the story like a story, okay? And we're starting off in Genesis 37. Genesis 37. And so I have King James Version and I have the NLT version. And then, of course, I may skip around to some other versions as well. And we are not reading it for any type of deep interpretation. We are reading it as if we're looking for setting, we're looking for a plot, we're looking for normal things that we would see if we were watching a movie or reading a story. Okay? All right, Joseph, and I am reading from the King James versions first because this is also going to help all of us become better readers in general. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. So Jacob is he changed his name to Israel. God changed his name to Israel. So he's like Jacob and he had all them sons. But anyway, um we're gonna keep going. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel, that's Jacob, loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. So he had him as an older adult. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. So they was hating on him. Okay. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. He's getting ready to tell it in the dream. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. So they was working out in the field. And lo, my sheaf arose. Basically, the tool he was using, it grew. Okay, or the things he was working on, the plant that he was whatever he was the grain, all right, that he was doing, it grew. Okay, uh, and rose also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood around about, and made a obstinance to my sheaf. Okay, so we look right over here. It says we were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. So you can imagine how brothers that already don't like you are feeling because you just told them that they about to bow down to you. Okay? And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. So they already didn't like him, and now he had a dream about him them bow down to him. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? You are my child. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. So daddy was like, I don't like what you talking about, but I'm going to keep my eyes and ears open. Because remember, that's his favorite kid. His brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren and well with the flocks. So they up there working. He's sending Joseph to go see about the brothers that don't like him. You sending the brother that we don't like to come check on us. I'm just seeing if you tracking what's going on here. And bring me word again and tell me what's going on. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. So this is some juicy information that he will have to tell his dad. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. They said to one another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. It's just like, Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. Okay? Alright, so they wanted to kill him. He was like, No, don't kill him. So they got a plan. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. So they headed to Egypt. Okay, so the brothers, they put him in this pit, and these other people coming, probably the ops most likely. Okay, Ishmaelites. Okay. And Judah said unto his brother, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? So now you got Reuben and you got Judah. Okay. What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? What are we going to get from it? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh and blood. Slavery. So just to let y'all know. But anyway, so they ain't want to kill him, but they going to sell him into slavery. And his brother were content. They all was like, okay, cool, you got a point. Let's go. Then there passed by the Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So the brothers probably was like, hey, it's a guy over there in the pit, to the Midianites. They didn't want no hands on him at all. And then the Midianites were the ones that went, and gave him officially to the Ishmaelites. Okay. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. Basically, when back in the day when they was real sad or something traumatic happened, they'd be like, "Wah!" and they take their clothes off. They rip their clothes. Okay, it's cultural back then. And he returned unto his brother and said, the child is not, and whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Now know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, it is my son's coat, and evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without a doubt rent in pieces. So they thought he was dead. And Jacob rent his clothes. Okay. And put sackcloth upon his loins. He basically put on like some sackcloth clothing. And mourned his son for many days. It's culture. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt, unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard. All right, so that is chapter, that's the book of Genesis. That's 37. Okay, that's 37. And we kind of get the first understanding of what's going on with the story of Joseph. Okay, we have the setting. They're in Canaan. We have our characters, Joseph, Jacob, and his brothers. We have the conflict. The brothers don't like Joseph. And then we have that's an internal conflict, of course. And then we have our external conflict, where they conspire to kill him. They don't. They end up selling him. Okay? So everything has been established so far. We got some symbolism with the coat. We have some foreshadowing with the dream, meaning those dreams foreshadow Joseph's future. We got a little bit of character development. Some of the brothers, they don't like Joseph, but they are protecting him a little bit. Okay, so we got some good stuff going on. Good stuff. Let's see how long Genesis 38 is. Okay, we'll do Genesis 38 and then we'll stop. So we'll do 37 and 38. All right, so tribal history. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. And he took her and went into her. We know what that means. Okay. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Er. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Chezib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for Er, his firstborn, whose name was Tamar, or Tamar, or Tamar. And Er, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground. He pulled out, okay? Lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord. Obedience. His daddy told him to do something. He didn't do it. Therefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown, for he said, Lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house, waiting for this little boy to be a grown man. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers in Timnath, he and his friend Hira the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with the veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. So she's like, You grown, I'm supposed to be your wife. We finna make this shake. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it to her, and came into her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these, the signet and bracelets and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, she hath been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass, as she drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. So the baby was about to come out. They tied a ribbon on the hand, but then the baby went back in, and another baby came out. Therefore his name was called Pharez. And afterward came out his brother, that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Okay, so we like it. This is like Genesis 38 is like one of those sidebar stories, and like in the middle of the regular story. So we had to go and find out a little bit about one of his brothers. Okay, so we learned a little bit about what's going on while Joseph is being a slave. Okay, was taken in to be a slave. So just a sidebar story. Anyway, so that is what we'll do. We need to let's go ahead. Let's keep going. All right, Genesis 39, because it's only been like 22 minutes, so I'm almost done. Joseph in Egypt, because yeah, let's end on Joseph. So we'll stop for real on this one. All right, and Joseph were brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer, I don't know, I'm probably not saying these names right, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian. I love how they just add all the titles, like everything, what he was. I'm just letting you know who he is, his name, what his occupation was, what he was supposed to be doing, his title, and his nationality, okay? Brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which was brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hands. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sakes. So this is like, I know I said I want to get deep, but it's kind of like one of them, you can get somebody else's blessings. You know, if you around somebody blessed, like you gonna be blessed too. Okay. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house. He left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not all he had. Wait. Oh, and I'll say it. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. People like Joseph. He was nice. Okay. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. Why always gotta be a woman? And she said, lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotted not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. He's like, look, I got a lot, I'm responsible. Like, there is none greater in this house than I. Like, You don't want to deal with me. Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee. Like, I got everything but you, because thou art his wife, because you his wife. Now then, can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? He didn't even say sin against the man. He said sin against God. Okay? He respect that covenant like that. And it came to pass, as he spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. Like, he was gone. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got out. Got that man hemmed up. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant, why you guys be a Hebrew servant? Why you gotta throw that Hebrew in there? Which thou hast brought unto us. He sound like Adam. This woman you brought, like, came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which he spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, his wrath was kindled, so he was mad. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison. So, wife lie. She was trying to sleep with him. He wouldn't go for it. She lied. Okay. And Joseph's master put him in prison where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph. Necessary evil. Okay, this stuff had to happen. And showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand and all prisoners that were in the prison. So Joseph went down there and was like over everybody. Okay. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. So Joseph was the man. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it prosper. So I'm going to read this other side. It said the warden had no more worries, because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him and caused everything he did to succeed. So he went down there helping that man. Okay. All right, so that is the story of, that's part 1. That was Genesis at 37, 38, and 39. So 37 introduces the story. 38 is a little sidebar story, kind of telling you what was going on when Joseph was doing what he was doing. And then 39 goes into Joseph actually being in Egypt. Okay, what he had going on. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and next Wednesday, well, it may be out before then, but we'll do part 2 for the story of Joseph.